All right, so we're just gonna. Is it? Is it possible to claim ownership on the shit you say? Absolutely. If there's like authorship in what you say, and I don't mean when you scramble words together like a robot does. Okay, the robot pulls from uh already said things. It's a scramble. It's like when you shake a bunch of colors up into a box and then, or you throw a bunch of paint at the wall, and everything that we say in this world has to be proven down to something that is like authorship worthy, which means something that would be published for its entrance appeal, meaning its entire statement has to have like an entrance appeal. It has to have like a monumental feeling or a change, or it has to be in itself something that is closed. Like when I say something online, I have said a lot of original thought, original content that has a certain declaration through experience I've earned, which means someone who could have never lived my life, they wouldn't have the same kind of knowledge and experience, and then therefore would never actually come to those conclusions. And so you can't just regurgitate what people say online very easily. Sometimes people do have declarations that are made public because they're not got the money or the access or the knowledge or sometimes the connections to create the authorship label and protection. And because we're so digitized, it's now becoming too easy for people to watch other people without showing the fact that you're also jotting notes and stealing information and going to use it to make money off of what they've created. And you may have the connections and the money and the startup and the knowledge on how to do that. Just because you have those abilities, it doesn't claim ownership over anything other people say. That's not me. I don't own that statement. That's like a law, a global understanding in like studios and like in the creative world. You know, it's a standard. I did not have. I didn't make that. I'm regurgitating that through multiple copyright and infringement laws and intellectual property laws, and there are tons of industries around the world that share that information, and there are standards on who owns what and why, and what other people are allowed to do technically and globally, and as a citizen of any really one of these contributing members, especially the World Intellectual Property of everybody in the world that is connected to the property of the protection of property of others, okay, with mostly everyone, you have an obligation to adhere to any of those standards as a citizen of these countries, including China, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. They didn't. They certainly maybe. World Intellectual Property. I think they have copyright laws though. I have pulled them. I have looked up Chinese, like their people's um, police, I think they call them, the People's Police, I think they call them. And then like the copyright protection laws in China, they follow a lot of the same standards. If you see something that doesn't make you an owner of it, okay, sure, that doesn't apply to everything. You don't become an owner of nothing though. So if you see something that's already not worth something, you don't own anything if you use it. It's you're just like sharing something that's common knowledge that everybody knows. Nothing unique about it. There are tons of things that no one can own because they don't have any worth or um they're not of like, they're just like a scramble of information or shit. Like when you throw a bunch of paint and allow gravity and physics to create the art, that's the science that owns the art really, and there's no like you can do that 1,000 times and you'll never get like copyright infringement. Even if it matches somebody else, because you're throwing paint at a wall or something. But if you copy and paste somebody else's work and claim it as your own and it's unique and it's original, it's never been done before, you are theoretically and technically and actually committing theft. And if you publish it online, then you are absolutely bragging about that theft and you have possession of that theft. And our own administration are so stupid that they don't even think about them leading by example and doing it in front of us and doing that and uh, plagiarizing ideas from the community all the time. Our own administration in Canada and China and all these places steal ideas from the public and claim ownership of it all the time religiously. They don't give credit to people when they change policies because of someone individual. Very rarely. In fact, sometimes that individual, like myself, will get punished and then they'll change the policy. I can tell you that I will pull up now. I figured it out this year. I pulled up the statutes and how they changed across Canada since I started yelling at them. And every time I made a really important declaration that was very unique and unheard of kind of way of putting things, and also very new ideas on how to fix things and suggestions that weren't really, or not even that. I think it wasn't all that, but like I got them to do it right away because I also showed them that I had a lot of evidence I was going to sue them. So not everybody gets punished. Some people just like sell their ideas and get praised, and then they like some campaign for the people. I'm not like that. I'm like, no, this is all wrong. We need to change this yesterday. I'm gonna sue you. Here's all the harm you've caused, and you're on notice of foreseeable harm, ongoing harm. And if you don't stop, I'm gonna charge and sue everybody in the government that's ever touched my file. And here's all the new things you can do to fix it so it never happens again. That was what I did. That was my statement. That was my declaration. I was like, time's up. And so I can track every time I did that, more or less. There were administration and role changes, like people either quit or even like there are a lot of job shifts. So like the people like, okay, that's a structural change. And there's the policy changes. Oh look, all these statutes are flying off the table right after me. Oh, let's go. Oh my god, cool. Wow, I like that. So next, I'm suffocated and pushed off the edge and like treated like a pest because I made them change everything right away, and I made them lose money. Oh, I made them lose money. Shit. So not everybody gets punished. If you make them win money, obviously they're gonna like campaign you, and they're gonna like feed off of that. But it's not money when I tell them to stop mismanaging it. Okay, when I tell them to be accountable for all their money, and I tell them, okay, we don't know where all this is going. Other countries have fixed everything with the same or less money, and if you can't fix it for the same population and other people have fixed it for less, then I think you have a problem. And if you have more money and more resources, and other people who have less can solve things, then I think there's a problem. And so I provided policies that were already working as well, including my ideas, and it wasn't something that they could avoid. So when I say I made them change, and I made them change yesterday, and they fucking hate me for it in this government, I don't say that lightly. I don't misstate that. I do not over exaggerate. In fact, I quite frankly just say it as fast and nonchalantly as possible because you should just do the record. And if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, okay, show me the records. They're available. Go get them if you want. I've provided them publicly. I tell people, I show them where to look. I give them, I pray, I post it up on people's faces, and I don't want to believe you're anything, so I'm going to continue hating you. That's what I get from everyone. So I'm not actually calling it anything other than hatred. It's like, okay, so you think I deserve being stolen from and treated like this and deprived and starved for fixing the problems that everybody needed. And I'm like, okay, and you want to call me stupid? All right. I think that's just hatred because if you don't look at the facts that prove that I've done these things or that I'm intelligent or a contribution or worth like saving or feeding or getting a house to, okay, if you don't think those things, and what you use to justify those things or justify the theft of my ideas or justify my exploitation or justify anything that's illegal against me. And you don't have a reason, meaning the reason you use is a false interpretation of what you think I am versus what I actually am on the record. So if I say I've done something and you say I haven't, and I have pieces of paper on the table in front of you that say I have and prove it many ways, and you still look at me across the table and say, no, you haven't, you're delusional. If you think I deserve to suffer because you don't want to see the proof, you like torturing people. If you don't want to change or admit or, you know, as a country, I'm saying, like as a nation and as a people, as everyone around me, I don't blame just one person. Everyone is doing this. Everyone is justifying my harm. Everyone is justifying the gag over my face, the mouth on my hand, the mouth on my face, suffocating me. Everybody is allowing it. People look in and oh, they already think he doesn't matter. Oh, he's got some good ideas. I'm gonna take him. No one cares about him. I'm gonna take him. So the part that you use as a collection of people, as humanity, as a group, as whatever you want to call yourself, I call you the modern Nazi regime, and I mean everyone, even other gay people. It's almost inbred into our culture so much to be a hateful person that we hate ourselves before we come out as gay. Some of us continue hating ourselves. Like some gay people still hate themselves because we were born and taught to hate ourselves by everyone else before we come out. Before we tell everyone we're gay, we're already taught to hate gay people. And then when we think we're gay, we hate ourselves before we come out. And some of us continue hating themselves. It took me like 20 years in therapy to stop hating myself. It took a long time of inner work to stop the self-hatred. Many people in the gay community still hate themselves because it's a lot of work. Okay, a lot, too much work. So what happens? Well, other gay people hate me. It's a very thing. It's a very thing. So even like there are people who are like susceptible and victim to things that were happening in the Holocaust, which is basically a hatred. And so when there's like that you've been hated and you have a problem with that, but it's so accepted and normalized in our world that you're taught to hate yourself and then you hate everyone else. And you hate even the people in your own community because it's just so normal to just hate people. And then like our community doesn't get out of that because we hate each other because we're taught to hate everything in this world. And then where do we go with that? I, with this, I want to ask the United Nations to be a guest. And I want to just like reclaim my narrative in front of the world and in front of all the countries around the world and put them through like that 15-minute speech I can use. And I mean, I'm going to tell them what I want. That never again was just actually, you can't stop. There's my one catchphrase. It was never again. It was you can't stop. Okay? You can't stop suffocating people. You can't stop stealing from them. Before the Holocaust, before they threw everybody in the ghetto, they actually stripped everything from them first and then claimed ownership of it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, don't forget that, everybody. Don't ever forget that before they killed everybody off, they took everything from them and claimed ownership of it, ideas, possessions, okay? They even made some of them work for them for a little bit to learn what they do, and then they took them out. This wasn't just Jewish people; it was gay people, it was people who spoke out against the criticism in the Holocaust. It was a lot of people that ended up in very unfortunate circumstances. It wasn't just Jewish people. It was autistics and gays and priests and a whole shitload of fucking people that spoke out against it who didn't do as they were told. Some people who just didn't do what they were told ended up being stripped of everything that they owned. Ideas, okay? Doctors, very powerful artists. Chanel just did as she was told. Chanel is alive and got to continue because she just did as she was told. She made tunics during the war. Quietly, quietly did things, and then eventually moved to America, I think, right? And then took off. It's interesting that a lot of beautiful things in this world have been transformed into counterfeits. Someone who doesn't have ownership of something steal it. When they steal ideas and steal things, and they destroy the person that they stole it from because they don't like them, but they value the idea. Once that person's gone, the value of the idea is gone because they're not able to actually transfer it voluntarily or consensually. And so it loses all of the information before, after, during, and all the bullshit that comes around that information and knowledge and idea. And it becomes a counterfeit. It's like looking at, trying to make a side product of everything in the world. Well, it might look exactly like the product, but they'd actually, they don't really do the same. It's not the same. It's just like the surface level. They might be better at it today, but they're still just like building off a prototype and they're not building off the meaning. Okay? And so counterfeits are like when you I don't know, it's just it's not it's like it's not a full extraction of the information. It's like, okay, I use this explanation all the time. So a counterfeit Roman infrastructure, counterfeit Greek infrastructure. As a landscape architect, I fully accept and acknowledge that the original Romans and Greeks had architecture that we don't understand anymore, that we can't build anymore. Okay? There are replicas of that work, okay? That is like just facades and rebar on the front of another building with concrete and bricks. They copy the architecture from old books that they don't understand, that weren't shared with us as clearly, and there's certain things that we can never do again because the information is just surface level, surface material, and they're reading from some book and they don't understand everything around it that helps to fully explain it. And so the concept is being applied like a splash on the wall. Like it's like plaster of Paris. When I look at American architecture, it's like they build a wall with bricks and rebar and some concrete, and then they plaster Paris what looks like Greek architecture on the front of the building, and it's not the same thing. It's not anything like the original. And yes, that might not be an understandable, um, example for everyone, but for me, all you really wanna get out of that is that a lot and just to tell you, the Romans were conquered and so was Greece, and those civilizations are extinct. So, like, that is the fair